I just found myself not really like wanting to pick up my Kindle or a book. I cannot put it down. There's a lot going on and I need to know how it's gonna end. I started this hoping I would get out of a reading slump, and as much as I enjoyed this book, I don't think I'm out of it. I am gonna start reading Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden because I'm craving a thriller, and I'm also craving something that is gonna hook me and make me want to pick up reading so much that I just whiz through it. And I feel like Frida McFadden does that most of the time that I've read her books. Okay guys, I know the lighting is absolutely terrible, and for some reason this camera does not let me adjust the exposure when I'm filming a video. It's been 2 days since I started Dear Debbie. The first night I read a whopping 4 pages before I fell asleep. I know, crazy. And then last night I actually ended up reading 52 pages and I still couldn't fall asleep. So yeah, I was really enjoying it last night. I wasn't really like, okay, I'm so excited to pick it up because I just felt like I hadn't even got into it the night before. But I was really enjoying it last night. I'm 20% through the book. I've got a lovely little mug of tea. Hopefully I'll probably be like halfway next time I do an update. But I'm enjoying this so far. I am definitely getting into it. I definitely feel like I'm getting my reading spark back a little bit, which is really nice. I'm currently 1 book behind my Goodreads goal for the year. Hopefully this will help catch us up. I also have made some progress with the other book that I was reading, Mile High. Probably talked about it in my last video, and I'll probably talk about it in this one a little bit because I was supposed to be reading it in that video and it's not that I wasn't enjoying it, but I just didn't feel myself being drawn towards that story and choosing to read that. But I've been listening to it, so yeah, I'm enjoying it. I enjoy listening to it. I'm just not really enjoying reading it. Okay, hello everyone. I wanted to show you guys a couple books that I bought. I saw these and I was like, no, like I don't need them. Like I don't need to buy more books right now. However, I did that with Nightshade. I wanted the works version of Nightshade. It had the most insane sprayed edges and I didn't get it because I was trying to be sensible, and then basically I ended up not even seeing that cover book, like that edition of it, let alone the sprayed edges. Literally, I want to say for like at least 6 months. I didn't pick it up. I was trying to be sensible and I've regretted it ever since because I have not seen it anywhere. Then I realised that was the works edition. I just thought that the other cover was, perhaps it was indie and then it got republished additionally, so that's why the cover is different, but I don't think that's the case. I think it is just that is the works edition. So anyway, I was trying not to have that scenario reoccur, so I decided to just buy these. Like I said, I had Christmas money anyway, so like it was fine. But those books are First Time Caller and Now Back to You, both by B.K. Borison. This one I believe has been released in the last few days, and I picked this up yesterday, and they both have gorgeous sprayed edges. I am really excited. I'm hoping I can get to these soon. I feel like my little spark for reading is coming back. I just found myself not really like wanting to pick up my Kindle or a book. I did read more of Dear Debbie last night. I think I read about another 50 pages because again I couldn't fall asleep. Yeah, so I'm now on page 98 and I was on page 56. I'm enjoying this. I have been listening to Mile High. I listened to it this morning and I really like the characters. And I don't know what it is that isn't like just not hitting. Guys, I cannot put it down. Like, I know this lighting isn't great, but I'm not gonna be able to put this down until it's done. I'm on page 267 and there's 329 pages, so I have to finish this today, even if I listen to some of it. So, that being said, I'm gonna go back to reading, but I just wanted to come on and give an update because there's a lot going on and I need to know how it's gonna end. I finished Dear Debbie this evening, and I absolutely loved it. I flew through it, absolutely loved it. I think it might actually be one of my favourite Frida McFadden books. So it leaves me on to my next read, and because I was enjoying Dear Debbie so much, I was kind of just like, I want to keep reading. So I'm getting my reading spark back, which is great. That was like the whole point of reading that book, was because I knew that it would make me excited to read again. And it has worked because I, for the last couple hours, have been trying to decide what book I want to read next. I want to read Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, but I don't want to start another romance book until I finish reading Mile High. So I have been debating for the last few hours like what I'm gonna do, whether I'm gonna just start another book or whether to try and read the rest of Mile High. But when I looked, I still had 4.5 hours left, and I was like, oh, I cannot be bothered with that. I decided to start another book on my Kindle, another like mystery or thriller, and hopefully by the end of the week I will have finished listening to Mile High. I'll wrap up this book and then I can move on to probably Out of the Woods or another book. But the book I've decided to pick up for tonight is Wild. Okay, you literally can't even see that. Wild Dark Shore. I've heard various people say really good things about this book. In fact, I think everyone has rated it 5 stars that I've heard talk about it. And I will read the description. So, it says, a family on a remote island, a mysterious woman washed ashore, a storm gathering force. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny weather-lashed island that is home to the world's largest seed bank. As Shearwater risks being lost to rising sea levels, the island's researchers have fled and only the Salts remain. Until, during the worst storm in living memory, a stranger washes ashore. The family nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, but it seems she isn't telling the whole truth about why she's there, and when Rowan stumbles upon sabotage radios at a recently dug grave, she realises she's not the only one on the island with a secret. I'm very intrigued. It's 318 pages, which I feel like is a good length. Like, that feels achievable. It doesn't feel like I'm committing to too much. The first perspective we have is of the woman who washes ashore. That is interesting. But yeah, my game plan is to read this when I'm in the mood to physically read, and then listen to Mile High throughout the week, hopefully finish it by the end of the week. So yeah, I will update you guys whenever I have an update. I have 2 reading updates. First of all, I finished Wild Dark Shore, which feels like the first book I finished in ages. It hasn't been as long as I feel it's been. I'm just gonna have a look and see when I started the book, but I finished it today, and guys, I cried. I started reading it on the 26th of February, and I finished it today. It's the 16th of March. So it's taken me about 2.5, 3 weeks-ish to read it. I started this hoping I would get out of a reading slump, and as much as I enjoyed this book, I don't think I'm out of it. And I was thinking that by the time I finish this book, I would be out my reading slump and it would be the last book that I read in this video. But sadly, I don't think that's the case. And I think I'm going to rate it a 4. You know, sort of like 4, 4.25. I really enjoyed these characters. I really enjoyed the sort of like mystery that's going on and the general aspect. I don't think I've read any books set on like a remote island other than some of Lord of the Flies when I was in school. And I say some of because I did not read all of it. I do not remember. I only kind of know what happens based on what other people have said. But Wild Duck Shore is set on a very remote island. However, the people that are there have chosen to be there. There's no plane crash, there's no like accident and they're stranded there because of an accident. It is that, like I said, the main people is Dom and his 3 kids, and they have lived on the island for I think quite a few years at this point, basically being caretakers of the island, but most importantly the seed vault. So the seed vault contains thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of seeds intended for if there were to be some big world event or, you know, natural disaster and people need to regrow a big range of plants or food. There is a seed vault designed to keep these seeds safe so that if, you know, the seeds that are naturally in the world are destroyed, we have a backup basically. And then a woman called Rowan, she washes up on shore. Whilst I said the majority of people have chosen to be on the island, it's because the majority of them, besides this one person, have chosen to be on the island. And so have everyone else who has been on the island at some point. You do read about other people who have been there in the past and stuff like that. And there is also, like I said, a bit of a mystery that's going on. I really enjoyed this, and I'm trying to decide whether I didn't get through it as fast as I wanted to because of the book or because I'm in a reading slump. And obviously earlier on in this video I read Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden, and that made me feel like I've gotten towards the end of my slump, and now I'm like, I don't know if I can say I'm out of it. The other thing that is making me feel very slumpy is I still have not finished Mile High by Liz Tomfordy. I started this on Boxing Day. That is almost 3 months ago. And I'm enjoying listening to this book, but I'm not particularly enjoying reading it. I'm not finding myself wanting to pick it up. Because I finished Wild Dark Shore, I was hoping I could start filming my next reading vlog, but I don't feel like I can do that. I could finish this, read, I'm thinking, a Frida McFadden book because there's still a few that I want to read, and I know that it's gonna make me pick up my Kindle and it's gonna make me want to read, and that will buy me time to finish listening to Mile High, and then I can finally have it gone and start fresh with another reading vlog and not be listening or reading to anything else other than the books I'm reading in that video, which I think is the best way to do it. Like I said, I'm rooting for these characters. I want them to be together. I love them as a couple and individually, but I'm not caring to sit down and read it and wait for it to happen. But the idea of listening to it, I'm up for. So I think listening to it and finishing it over the next few days and then reading a Frida McFadden book that I think I can get through quickly, sort of like by the end of the week sort of thing, I think that will help, if that makes sense. I think that might do the job, and if it doesn't do the job, I'm just gonna end the video after them, and hopefully whatever book I pick up after that will be the one that can get me out of my slump. I need to figure out what I want to read. I want to read the reappearance of Rachel Price again for the first time. Like, I think if I could read that for the first time right now, my problem would be solved, because that book was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I think I am going to go for a Frida McFadden book. I think my choices right now are Want to Know a Secret and The Surrogate Mother. I don't know. There's also Dead Med, but that's not really calling to me. What's Death Row? Right, okay. I'm gonna read Death Row. I didn't see this one for some reason. I thought I'd read it because I mix up Death Row and The Inmate, which is another book by Frida McFadden. I'm feeling positive about this. It's about a woman who is on death row and is losing time for her appeal for the murder of her husband, and then one day she sees a visitor in the prison who looks like her husband. I'm feeling positive. A bit confused. I was under the impression that this was a book. So the typical time to read is an hour and... Oh, I think so. It's going to take me half an hour to read. We'll see. We will see about that. I mean, maybe this is a very good thing because it will help give me some more momentum. I will see you guys, hopefully, when I finish Mile High and Death Row. Guys, I did it. I have finished Mile High. I did actually really enjoy the book, and I did enjoy the characters and everything that was going on for each of them. I couldn't get on board with actually reading the book itself. I don't really know why, to be honest, but it was just one that I was only interested in listening to. So I am glad it's done. I'm done with it. I can move on. Yeah, I probably will end this here. I'm just gonna let myself think about it a little bit more because I feel a bit conflicted about what to rate it, because obviously, like I said, it's taken me months to read and I haven't really wanted to read it. I've only wanted to listen to it. I finished Death Row last night. This was a very, very quick read. I read it it was technically 2 sittings, but I only stopped reading it because I was falling asleep the first time, so I definitely could have read that in 1 sitting if I had more time. But again, I don't know what I'm going to rate this because it is novellas, and I feel like novellas are a little bit harder to rate than like normal length books. So yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about that, but I also finished that. So this week I finished Wild Dark Shore, I started and finished Death Row, and then I also finally finished Mile High. So this week has been a very good week.